You know what? I didn't see this combination coming,
I
and I
love the
like it.
combination.
I didn't know what to expect from it, but I loved it.
When
You
I
know what?
thought
I'm gonna
about it,
say this. I'm gonna say this, man. I think when it comes to putting songs together, song structure in a way where I hate to say it like this, but in a time where radio is dead, and songs that I feel like if radio was still alive, I hear like three, four songs that will ride throughout the whole summer on this album.
Mike, the first two songs are riding for the whole summer. Am I wrong?
Those songs are dope. And you
Those
think
songs are.
about how different these MCs are and how well they sound together. It's like, man, they had to have been cooking this up for a second. They sound like friends. They got to be friends. Sound like they was chilling, cooling out. I mean, song with Currency, how Currency just dips in there. It's a play from beginning to end, man.
So let me tell you a few things. First of all, when I thought about it, I was like, I'm like, how is this about the work? And then I was like, no, no, no. This is about the work. All
Mm-hmm.
these guys are cool and they like to smoke.
Right. Full court press.
I was like, this is about the work. And I'm not even going to lie. The Currency, placing Currency in here, and the way the record went, and he's perfect, the perfect slide in. Like, that was the perfect slide in. I want to hear a project with the four now, especially after how well the three just pulled this off. Because, first of all, who's your MVP on this album?
I say Wiz, and I'm not saying that easily
I'm saying
because
that clear. No,
I'm
Wiz is the
saying Wiz
MVP.
because you could tell he's probably the catalyst of how well
This is
these
the
songs
cap,
came
right?
together.
So hold on.
But
So
I was very surprised by how KRIT was, where it was like KRIT and Smoke DZA blended very well together. It's like they're
yeah.
getting their bars off. They were impressive on there, but they didn't sound like nobody sounded like anybody was trying to out rap anybody. These are just really good songs, and they spit.
So I'm with you. I feel like Wiz is the MVP and the catalyst of this. Doesn't it feel that way?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it feel like the project kind of centered around Wiz a little bit, but in a very subtle way. And everybody, you want to know what this is like? This is like the San Antonio Spurs dynasty team, and Wiz is Tim Duncan. It's like, well,
It's not flashy.
it's not flashy.
Effective.
You know who's kind of running the show. You know who the best player is, but all the players are playing so well and playing so well together. You don't really give a fuck who the captain is, even though you know who the captain is. Wiz is the captain of the ship, in my opinion, but it doesn't matter. Those are the things that sometimes great championship teams are made of. Like, you remember the Detroit Pistons teams?
Mm-hmm.
Like, really didn't realize Chauncey Billups was the leader of that team until they got to the finals.
Right.
Like, you didn't know who the leader was until they got to the finals. It's like, oh, Chauncey's running the show. He's pointing at Rashid and Ben and telling them where to go. He's telling Rip it's like, oh, he's the one running this show. You really don't realize he's about halfway into this album. It's like, oh, Wiz is the one running this show.
And you know what?
said,
As condensed as this album was, I think it's like, what, 12 songs?
Is it?
I think so.
Is it?
Is it 12? It didn't feel like it. It's 10 songs.
It felt like 10.
It's 10.
Hold on.
It's 10.
It's 10.
It's
right.
10.
It's 10.
But with that being said, I want to hear more because I feel like they could easily cook up some of these. It seems so effortless. Excuse me.
That's what I mean. Mike, how the Spurs pass the basketball. Boom, 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 shot.
Man, those Spurs teams, man.
Yeah.
Those Spurs teams in the, I want to say the early 2010s, or it was towards the end of their run. They were
everything
impressive
from
to watch.
2012. 2005 to 2012.
Now, I'm thinking about when Kawhi came, and it was a young Kawhi, and they still had prime, a little bit over prime Tim Duncan, but they were still really good. Just the way their ball movement was, man, like, that team was fun to watch, to me.
07 12. Hold on. The team that beat LeBron has a Cleveland Cavalier.
Yeah.
And the team that beat LeBron has a Miami Heat.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about that run.
Yeah.
That team. Yes, that's the team I'm talking about. That's what this album is.
Yeah.
This album is. It's like, no. That's a championship team passing the ball. And what's really beautiful about this album, They all have solo tracks on a 10-track album, and you don't notice it. And it's flawless. It's seamless. That's what I mean about team ball, play ball. It's like, well, Wiz is the star, but just like with the Spurs, it's like, well, sometimes Ginobili take over the game and go get 20 in the fourth and win the game for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes Parker gets in the paint on the pick and roll, and you can't stop him with his little drop shot and his teardrop all game. That's how this album plays. It's like Wiz is the star, but at different points, it's like DZA takes the ball and runs extremely well. Like he can be the captain of his own team, much like Tony Parker. Same thing with KRIT. KRIT is kind of like Manu. It's like you never know what you're going to get, but it's like, damn, you can give him the ball and tell him to run, and he can run his own team. Like all of these guys are Hall of Famers, independent of each other. You put them together and you realize it's like, well, they're all Hall of Famers, but none of them are really first ballot Hall of Famers except for Tim, and that's why it works. Wiz is the closest thing to a first ballot Hall of Famer on this team, but there's all Hall of Famers on this team.
Yeah.
That enables the team to play ball.
I think Wiz has always worked well with others anyway, and I think all of these guys are really great teammates, and I didn't realize, I know Smoke DZA has a lot of joint projects out there, you know, the one with him and Pete Rock, but I never really looked at Big KRIT as a team player in this way, so I'm really impressed with how he handled this. I mean, for me, I thought he was an outlier because he's such a solo artist.
He's the outlier, and I'm going to tell you what, one of the more special moments on the album is where he goes on the solo mission, the fly the coop.
Yep.
Okay, so that's KRIT doing what KRIT does as a solo artist, but fitting it into the format, sound, stylistic, and aesthetic-wise of what the team is doing, and that's what I'm talking about this project working. When I heard that joint with KRIT, I'm like, oh, that shit snaps. And that sounds like a KRIT joint. I'm like, but it fits in this album. He picked this joint to make sure that it went with this album. Nice job, KRIT.
Yeah.
Because KRIT's the one that you would worry about being the team player on this. He's the one with the most individual work.
Yeah.
Wiz and Bieber have collaborated frequently with others extremely well.
Because, you know, I mean, he's a producer. You know, he produces his own records, you know, similar to Cole or whatnot. So,
and that's why I'm not a big fan of his solo material either.
I like him as a producer. Let me go to the super chat real quick, and I'll follow up with that. Jay Short says, Wiz kicking it with white boys for summer rap. And Man Nan says, what about Paul Wall and Terminology's album? Got to check that. Y'all keep putting us on the stuff.
Hold on. Paul Wall and Terminology have an album together? You talking about separately?
I think separately. I don't think they got an album together.
Right.
We'll check on that though. But yeah, I like KRIT as a producer actually. More than I like Cole as a producer personally. Because I think his production style fits him.
Mike, neither one of them are David Banner, so it really doesn't matter.
Really? I think that KRIT is. Now I don't think Cole is. I think what? I think if KRIT got more placements, he could have a Rubber Band Man out there. I like KRIT's production. I do.
Where? When? Name the songs,
his mixtapes. KRIT was here? Nah, man.
He doesn't have Mike. This is what I mean when I mean producer. Like a pimp made Lil Flip a star.
This is true. And Rubber Band Man made Tip a star, honestly.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And before that, a lot of people don't know this about David Banner. David Banner, once upon a time, was in this group called Crooked Letters because they're from Mississippi.
Dope.
They released an album called Gray Skies. David Banner wasn't even the lyricist in the crew. But about David Banner's production, $10 million deal to do production and albums. Cole and KRIT ain't never fucking had it like that as producers. Period.
Internet artist repertoire.
Ain't nobody ever heard Cole and KRIT underground shit and been like, here's $10 million. They did that shit for David Banner.
That's a different game now. It's a very different game now.
Mark, it's a better producer making the beats is what I'm saying. KRIT and Cole ain't like that as producers. Banner is. That's why he got 10 mil to be an artist and a producer. And them niggas never got offered 10 mil because they don't make beats dope like that.
Now, listen,
Yeah.
J. Cole
Tired of-
does have high power in his catalog, right? Producing for others. Now, Big Crit, I don't know, man. I like his production, but I feel you.
What did J. Cole produce? What did you say J. Cole produced?
High power for Kendrick.
We comparing that to like a pimp.
No, I'm not. I don't think Cole is a better is on
Okay,
par
I'm
with
just making
David
sure we
Banner.
weren't tripping here.
No. I don't think Cole as a producer is on par with David Banner, but I do think that Crit there could be an argument made.
No, I don't think so. And also, too, personal level, sat courtside at a Hawks game next to David Banner once. Really nice guy.
Yeah,
Really
David
nice
Banner's
guy.
cool people. But
It's
yeah,
really nice.
this project is dope, and I would like to hear more. And this is a combination I didn't think that I would ever need, but it came together really well. But again, like you said, it really speaks to how well Wiz can direct things, because a lot of this stuff sounds like Wiz is
This is
vibe.
his direction.
Yeah.
Like, don't you feel like Mind Blown and Put You On is Wiz setting it off and setting the album up for success? Don't you feel that way? The first two records, don't that feel like Wiz to you, setting the album up for success?
Yeah.
Those
Nas
are
the GOAT with the
songs.
super chat. He says, "Who are y'all top fives from 2010 until now?" I got Lupe, K. Dot, Cole, Benny, and Drake, and I hate Drake. Who are your top five from 2010 until now? It's a pretty big span.
Well, Nas has to be in there now because in that time he's made Life is Good, KD1, KD2, and Magic. So that's 4 great albums in a 10-year span. I think he's the only rapper in that span that can say that.
Well, Kendrick could say that.
No, he can't.
He can, man. Kendrick got 4 great albums.
No. When did he say?
2010.
Let's find out when Section 80 came out exactly. Because it might be
Section 80 was... Hold on.
No.
I'm sure the people in the chat could tell us.
No. Pull up when Section 80 came out and get some specific dates. July 2nd, 2011. All right. So
Okay. Yeah, Section 80. Yeah, so
So
we
we're
got
gonna put
Section
Kendrick in
80. We
here.
got Good Kid,
So-
Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and Damn.
So Kendrick and Nas are in there.
Yeah. J. Cole's in there.
We're going Cole. So that's 3.
I think Conway.
Hmm?
I think Conway the Machine.
I'm okay with that. I wanted to hear you say it and not me. Because apparently, including for MF Doom. Hold on, what did the MF Doom fan says? Like, MF Doom is our Conway, who, like, yeah, like Conway's your guy. Like, no, Conway's better than all these motherfuckers. Right? like not named Nas and Cole.
He's put together some really, really dope albums in the past 10 years. I give him that. Like, Conway got the projects in ways where Benny has shown us flashes, but not as consistently as Conway. But I wouldn't be mad to even consider Benny for this. I think that, I don't know, man. I think Benny's expectations, at least for me, might be slightly unreasonable.
Nope, Gibbs is closer to this status than actually Benny is. If we're
I'm
going
fine with Gibbs being that 5th spot.
Because Gibbs has Pinata, Bandana, Alfredo. Benny don't got 3 projects like that.
That's fair.
Conway's got Reject 2, God Don't Make Mistakes, From a King to a God. He's got some subsidiary projects that are really, really, really dope, like the Black Tape. Everybody is Food 1 and 2. Like, Conway's got stuff, so I'm cool with Conway, not cool with Benny. Gibbs is a possibility.
What do you think about Westside being considered in that? He's a wild card here.
He would be the wild card because he might have put together the best series of songs in this. How about this? Nobody probably has made doper songs in the last 10 years collectively than Westside. A lot of that has been about how he's accumulated and assembled the talent, like on some like Phil Jackson type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the assembly of talent versus the songs that he get. It's like I told you, Mike. I mean, like, just Stove, Benny. Like, who bought you Stove, Benny, and Conway? Well, that's Westside. And so when you're hearing some of their best stuff,
some consideration.
Right, Armani. You know what I'm saying? Who bought you Armani?
Yep.
Rome Streets.
All these people I heard for the first time on his projects.
Right. So most of these people who are like, you know, they're like Griselda got next. It's like, well, I heard them all on West Side's projects. You know, I mean, Mike, Pray for Paris, Gibbs, Joey Badass, Tyler. Who did Tyler said reinvigorated him to rap?
West Side.
West
And
Side.
now he's Rapper of the Year. Shout out to
Now he's
Top of
Rapper
Net
of
with
the Year.
Super Chat. He said, check out Say R&D Kids album. T.I. Banks Kiss. Benny.
Songwriter. Yeah.
Yeah, Sorry the Kid. All right. He said T.I. Banks Kiss. Benny. Ransom. Raekwon. Big KRIT. Features. The album is crazy. He says it's dope. We're going to check that. Yeah, we got to review that next then.